Modern life seems to be full of pressure and worries, making us feel like we are caught in a never-ending cycle. We are constantly searching for external values such as money, fame, or social recognition. But have we really found happiness in those things? Are we ignoring something much more important, happiness that comes from within? Have you ever wondered, in times of turmoil, how to find peace? Surely you have also tried to pursue material goals, but in the end, you felt empty and unsatisfied. This is not by chance, but the result of us ignoring the true values in life. If you are looking for answers to these questions, perhaps you will find peace in the principles of life taught by the Buddha. The Buddha did not just talk about theory, but he left us very specific principles of life that can be practiced in our daily lives. These principles not only help us find peace, but also help us live a meaningful life, even though this life is full of challenges and suffering. One of the important teachings that the Buddha taught is the 10 good deeds. These principles not only help us maintain morality in life, but are also the key to unlocking true happiness. These are not distant or theoretical principles, but specific actions that can be done right now. Good deeds begin with mastering our mind. The Buddha emphasized that true happiness does not come from external things, but from the way we perceive and face life. When we do good deeds, keep our mind pure, and stay away from bad things, we will feel an inner strength that helps us overcome all challenges. It is this understanding that will help us no longer be caught up in meaningless pursuits. So when you feel tired, confused, or lacking direction in life, remember that peace only comes when you live true to your true nature, when you can be patient and compassionate with yourself and with everyone around you. Let the 10 good deeds become a compass in your life, helping you overcome each challenge and find true happiness instead of chasing after temporary and frivolous things. When we start practicing good deeds step by step, we will see our lives gradually change. The first thing we notice is peace of mind. Worry and anxiety seem to disappear when we learn to live for noble values, not just for short-term goals or fame and fortune. Peace is not something far away, but the result of living fully and honestly with ourselves. One of the good deeds that Buddha taught is to stay away from evil actions, bad words, and negative thoughts. These are not difficult requests, but reminders for us to live in awareness and mindfulness. Sometimes just staying away from bad thoughts and focusing on positive things can make a big difference. When the mind is no longer filled with anger, jealousy, or greed, we will see the path to happiness more clearly. In addition to avoiding bad karma, the Buddha also taught us about compassion and wisdom. Compassion is the ability to understand and sympathize with the suffering of others, and at the same time, the desire to help them overcome difficulties. This is the key to opening our hearts and finding deep connections with others. Wisdom, on the other hand, is the ability to see the truth of life, not being blinded by illusions and temporary desires. When we have wisdom, we will clearly see the value of life and appreciate the simple, familiar things. Practicing these principles is not easy. In modern life full of temptations and challenges, maintaining mindfulness and living according to moral values requires patience and perseverance. However, it is during these difficult times that we realize that self-cultivation is not a burden, but a process that brings peace and freedom to the soul. You may feel confused at first, but don't worry. Every small step in your journey of practicing good deeds will help you become more stable. When you change the way you look at life, when you start acting with compassion and wisdom, you will feel the difference. The relationships around you will become more harmonious, your soul will become lighter, and life will become more meaningful than ever. And then, when you truly understand the value of good deeds, you will realize that happiness is not something that can be bought, but something we create ourselves through the way we live, through our actions and our moods. It is the principles of life that the Buddha taught that lead to true happiness, a happiness that does not depend on wealth or fame, but on peace of mind and tranquility of heart. Remember, nothing is meaningless in this life. Every good deed is a good seed that we sow in life. Every smile, every word of encouragement, every forgiveness will create good results that we cannot predict. And when you look back, you will see that it is these simple things that have helped you build a meaningful, peaceful life, no longer having to compete with the frivolous things outside. The Dhammapada, with 520 verses of meditation preached by the Buddha, is a treasure trove of profound philosophy. Considered a spiritual map, this sutra not only guides Buddhists, but also inspires each of us to live better in this turbulent life. Through short verses containing life philosophy, the Dhammapada helps us look deep into our inner selves, suggesting ways to live happily and free ourselves from worries. We want to arouse the curiosity of the audience with a question: what truly brings peace of mind in this turbulent life? The answer does not lie outside, but within each person's inner self. This is what the Buddha emphasized in the Dhammapada: the importance of practicing Buddhism. By reading and practicing the teachings in the Dhammapada, we can free ourselves from greed, anger, and delusion, and find the path to enlightenment. But that path is not an easy journey. It requires patience, self-awareness, and the ability to let go. According to the Buddha, all human actions originate from the will. The will is the master of actions, the forerunner of all things. If the mind is good, actions will lead to good results. If the mind is bad, the result will be suffering. The power of the will not only guides our actions, but also affects our fate in this life and the next. A young man was lost in life, always immersed in bad habits and blaming himself. One day he met a Zen master who guided him to transform his mind by focusing on good intentions and practicing mindfulness. After many years of practice, this young man became a caring leader in the community, inspiring thousands of others. Training the will is not just a theory, but also a practice. In our daily lives, we often get caught up in negative thoughts or uncontrolled actions. The Buddha taught that if we can control our mind, we can master our actions and change our destiny. Letting go of resentment is the first step to freeing ourselves from suffering. Hatred never ceases hatred. Only compassion can do that. This is the Buddha's profound message about forgiveness and letting go. A mother lost her child in a conflict. Instead of holding on to resentment, she decided to join a charity that helps children traumatized by war. From her pain, she learned to let go of resentment and replace it with love. Her life became more peaceful and meaningful. Analysis. Forgiveness is not an act of weakness, but an expression of inner strength and compassion. The Buddha encourages us to forgive, not to forget the past, but to not be bound by it. When the mind is purified of hatred, we can truly live a peaceful life. Meditation is the path to awakening and liberation from suffering. In the Dhammapada, the Buddha emphasized that mindfulness and meditation are tools to keep the mind from being shaken by life's events. Only when the mind is calm can we clearly see the nature of suffering and the path to liberation from suffering. A man used to live in a state of constant stress, always worrying about work and family relationships. After finding meditation, he began to realize that those worries did not really control his life. He learned to let go of negative thoughts and focus on the present. As a result, he found balance and peace. Analysis. Meditation is not an escape from reality, but a way to master ourselves. When we meditate, We do not try to avoid thoughts, but observe them and understand their impermanent nature. The Dhammapada, with 520 verses of meditation preached by the Buddha, is a treasure trove of profound philosophy. Considered a spiritual map, this sutra not only guides Buddhists, but also inspires each of us to live better in this turbulent life. In the Dhammapada, the law of cause and effect is presented as an obvious truth in life. Our actions, words, and thoughts all leave their mark on the flow of life and will return to us. Cause is the seed we sow. Effect is the result we receive. The Buddha taught that understanding and living according to the law of cause and effect will help us create good karma and avoid bad karma. There was a man named Min who became rich by cheating and taking money from others through business tricks. His life was full of material things, but his soul was not at peace. One day, Min became seriously ill. All his assets gradually disappeared into hospital bills and debts. In his depression, he happened to meet a monk who advised him to change his life by helping others to repay his karma and create blessings. Following the teachings, Min used the remaining money to build charity programs, help the poor, and convey the meaning of cause and effect in life. Over the years, he has gained respect and peace of mind, even though he lives more simply than before. Analysis. Karma is not a punishment, but the inevitable result of actions and thoughts. The Buddha emphasized that no one can escape the cycle of karma, and that all our actions, no matter how small, will produce certain results. If we live consciously and do good, good results will come. If we live with malice and selfishness, suffering will return. The precepts are not only the rules set by the Buddha to limit indulgence, but also the path to help practitioners maintain morality, develop compassion, and achieve purity of mind. The precepts help practitioners keep themselves from temptations, creating a foundation for developing meditation and wisdom. The Thai monk is a person who always keeps the precepts very strictly. Even though he lives in an area full of temptations, he never lets his mind waver. His purity and perseverance in keeping the precepts have deeply influenced the surrounding community. People came to learn about Buddhism, listen to his teachings, and find light in their chaotic lives. The Thai monk's perseverance and diligence in keeping the precepts became a symbol of compassion and liberation. Keeping the precepts is essential to train the mind. The Buddha taught that when the mind is pure, our actions will be pure and upright. Those who keep the precepts not only protect themselves, but also help society become more peaceful and stable. The precepts help create inner peace, which then radiates to the surrounding area and contributes to building a better society. Wisdom is one of the three important factors, precepts, concentration, and wisdom, that practitioners need to practice to attain enlightenment. In the Dhammapada, the Buddha emphasized that wisdom is the light that dispels ignorance, helps us clearly perceive the nature of life, and escape the bonds of suffering. There was a young person named Lan who always longed for success and power. She did not hesitate to use any means to climb to high positions in the company. However, those achievements did not bring happiness, but only constant anxiety. After experiencing a great shock, Lan began to learn meditation and study Buddhism. Through the practice of wisdom, she realized that true success does not lie in fame, but in understanding and controlling oneself. From then on, Lan slowed down, learned to observe the mind, and was no longer bound by frivolous values. The Buddha taught that a wise person is one who clearly understands the causes and conditions and sees the impermanent nature of life. When wisdom develops, we are no longer led by greed, anger, or ignorance, but live with awareness and peace. Wisdom helps us not only overcome suffering, but also spread love and compassion to others. Greed and desire are the main causes of suffering, as the Buddha emphasized. Mindfulness is an important element in Buddhist teachings, helping us live in the present with awareness, not being distracted by worries about the past or the future. The past is gone. The future has not yet come. Live in the present moment. This is the Buddha's teaching, reminding us not to waste every precious moment of life. A father was always busy with work, had no time for his family. One day his son fell seriously ill, making him realize that he had missed many important moments of his son. From then on, he decided to change his lifestyle, focusing on every moment with his family, caring for and loving his children. He began to practice mindfulness every day to live each moment fully and be more grateful for life. Mindfulness helps us escape the entanglement of unnecessary thoughts and focus on what is happening right now. When we practice mindfulness, we not only live consciously, but also appreciate the small but meaningful things in life. Compassion is one of the most important qualities of a Buddhist practitioner. The Buddha taught that compassion has the ability to transform hatred and bring peace to ourselves and those around us. Forgiveness is an indispensable part of this journey, because only when we forgive can we truly be free from resentment and suffering. A woman was betrayed by her best friend, causing her to live in pain and anger for many years. However, when she attended a Buddhist lecture, she understood that anger only hurts herself. She decided to forgive her old friend and let go of all resentment. Immediately after, she felt relieved and life became brighter. Forgiveness does not mean accepting the wrong, but letting go of the burden in her heart. Compassion not only benefits others, but also frees us from negative emotions. The Buddha taught that when compassion and forgiveness are sincerely practiced, we will feel true happiness and peace. Letting go is an important factor that helps us achieve liberation. Letting go does not mean giving up everything, but living with freedom, not attached to anything, from material things to relationships or emotions. The Buddha taught that when we let go, we can be free from all suffering and achieve a state of peace. Mr. Nam used to be very attached to his job, considering it everything. When he became unemployed, he fell into a crisis and lost his direction. Through meditation classes and listening to Buddhist teachings, he gradually learned to let go and realized that nothing lasts forever. Instead of clinging, he turned to doing good deeds and found new meaning in life. Letting go does not reduce the value of life, but on the contrary, helps us live more deeply and meaningfully. Letting go of things that are no longer useful and attached to helps us realize the impermanent nature and live with peace in every moment. The Dhammapada is not just a set of theoretical teachings, but a guiding light that helps us live happily and peacefully. By practicing these teachings in our daily lives, we can overcome all challenges and sufferings and spread love and wisdom to everyone. The Dhammapada contains valuable philosophies and teachings that help us practice and live fully. Through real-life stories and lessons, we realize that living according to the Buddha's teachings not only helps us to be happy, but also spreads peace to everyone. Let the Dhammapada be our compass to guide us on our journey to find peace and liberation. Impermanence is one of the fundamental truths of Buddhism, reminding us that everything in life is constantly changing. The Buddha taught that understanding and accepting impermanence is the key to liberation from suffering. When we know that nothing lasts forever, we will no longer cling to or suffer from loss or change. Mrs. Len was very sad when her husband passed away. Every day, she lived in longing and did not accept reality. One day, she was invited to attend a Dharma talk on impermanence. When she listened to the teachings, she began to realize that death is inevitable and everything in life is changing. From then on, she learned to let go of the pain and accept reality, living the remaining days with peace and love. Impermanence is the nature of life. Instead of running away or resisting change, the Buddha taught us to embrace and live fully in each moment. Understanding impermanence will help us to be less attached and not get caught up in negative emotions. Right view is one of the 8 factors of the Noble Eightfold Path, helping practitioners to perceive correctly the nature of phenomena. The Buddha emphasized that right view is the door that opens the path to liberation from suffering, because only with right perception can we live rightly and do right. Hai is a person who is often skeptical and often dissatisfied with the people around him. During a Dharma talk, he listened to right view and realized that all his dissatisfaction stemmed from a distorted view of life. He began to change his thinking, looking at people with more compassion and tolerance. Since then, his relationships with family and friends have also improved significantly. Right view not only helps us perceive ourselves and the world correctly, but also serves as the foundation for all actions and decisions in life. When we have right view, we will not be swept away by negative or wrong emotions, but live mindfully and wisely. In the teachings of the Buddha, harmony with nature and people is an indispensable part of building a peaceful life. We do not live alone, but are always part of the community and the environment. Harmony helps us avoid conflicts and live in harmony with everyone around us. Mr. Nam used to be very attached to his job, considering it everything. When he became unemployed, he fell into a crisis and lost his direction. Through meditation classes and listening to Buddhist teachings, he gradually learned to let go and realized that nothing lasts forever. Instead of clinging, he turned to doing good deeds and found new meaning in life. Letting go does not reduce the value of life, but on the contrary, helps us live more deeply and meaningfully. Letting go of things that are no longer useful and attached to helps us realize the impermanent nature and live with peace in every moment. The Dhammapada is not just a set of theoretical teachings, but a guiding light that helps us live happily and peacefully. By practicing these teachings in our daily lives, we can overcome all challenges and suffer. Dong Village is a small village where people live in harmony with each other thanks to the Buddhist teachings. They do not cut down forests indiscriminately, do not harm animals, and are always willing to help each other. One day, a big storm devastated the surrounding area, but Dong Village was hardly affected. Harmony with nature and the community helped them overcome challenges easily. Living in harmony not only benefits oneself, but also spreads joy and peace to the community. The Buddha taught that when we respect nature and treat people around us well, life will become more meaningful and peaceful. Fear and anxiety are 2 of the greatest causes of human suffering. The Buddha taught that fear often comes from ignorance, not understanding the nature of life. When we have wisdom, fear will disappear. Mr. Bin is always worried about his health and often lives in fear. A friend advised him to seek Buddhism to relieve his mental stress. Through meditation sessions and listening to teachings, Mr. Bin gradually realized that fear could not make the disease disappear, but only made him more miserable. Instead, he focused on taking care of himself in a healthy way, living in awareness, and no longer letting fear control him. Fear cannot be eliminated by avoiding it. The Buddha advised us to face fear, clearly recognize its cause, and find ways to transform it. When wisdom develops, understanding will replace fear, helping us live stronger and more peacefully. Love is the foundation of human connection and helps build a peaceful and happy society. The Buddha taught that living with love is not only living for oneself, but also living for the happiness of everyone. Ms. Mai is a very selfish person and does not care about anyone but herself. However, after experiencing challenges in life, she realized that only love could help her overcome difficulties. She began to open her heart, help others, and receive sincere affection from everyone around her. Her life was filled with joy and meaning from then on. Love is not weakness, but strength that helps us overcome all adversities. The Buddha taught that when we live with love, we will no longer feel lonely or miserable, but always have a connection with everyone and everything in the universe. The Dhammapada is not a lofty and difficult to understand teaching, but a practical guide for us to apply in our daily lives. From keeping a pure mind, living mindfully, to loving and helping others, all bring practical benefits. Mindfulness is a psychological state that practitioners achieve when they are no longer overwhelmed by thoughts and emotions. The Buddha taught that mindfulness helps us see things clearly and not be dominated by prejudices or wrong views. Mr. Tam was a person who had many prejudices against people who were different from him, from differences in religion to culture. This made him live in isolation and had no real friends. Through the guidance of a Zen master, he gradually realized that those prejudices were just products of the mind and did not reflect reality. He learned to be mindful, to see people with compassion and no longer judge. His life became more peaceful and meaningful when he let go of prejudices. Prejudices are barriers that prevent us from connecting and understanding each other sincerely. Mindfulness helps us escape from rigid thinking, open our hearts, and welcome life with an open and loving heart. The Buddha advised that when we live mindfully, all prejudices, resentments, and discrimination will gradually disappear, giving way to harmony and deep understanding. The Buddha emphasized that virtue is the foundation of a happy and meaningful life. A virtuous person will always act with compassion, not causing harm to himself or others. Self-control helps us maintain virtue in all situations. Hung is a hot-tempered person, often quarreling with others over trivial matters. Once, he was shunned by his friends because he could not control his anger. After attending a course on Buddhism, he began to practice meditation and learned to control his emotions. Over time, he realized that anger only hurts himself. Thanks to virtue and self-control, he gradually became a gentle person, loved by his friends and family. Virtue and self-control not only help us live a peaceful life, but also spread positive values to the surrounding community. When we know how to control ourselves and live with compassion, all our actions will become pure and respectable. Patience is one of the noble virtues that Buddha advised. People who know how to be patient are not weak, but are truly strong, because they have the ability to endure and overcome challenges without being defeated by emotions or adversity. Hoa was once slandered and had her reputation damaged by her neighbors. Instead of getting angry or seeking revenge, she chose the path of patience, without arguing or quarreling. After a while, when the matter was clarified, those neighbors realized their mistakes and came to apologize to her. Her patience and compassion made them admire her and change their way of life. Patience does not mean passively accepting, but maintaining compassion and not letting negative emotions dominate. People with the strength of patience will overcome all challenges calmly and not let hatred take away their peace. Letting go is one of the important lessons in the Dhammapada. The Buddha taught that when we let go of all attachments and ambitions, we will find peace and happiness. Letting go does not mean giving up everything, but giving up attachment to things that are not really necessary. Letting go does not mean giving up all material things, but giving up dependence on them. When we are no longer controlled by material things, fame or power, we will find true freedom and live with peace of mind. Love is the greatest power that helps people overcome all difficulties and build a peaceful life. The Buddha taught that when we live with love and compassion, the world will become a better place. Although the Dhammapada is a teaching from thousands of years ago, its value is still intact and applicable in modern life. From lessons on compassion, mindfulness, letting go to patience and awareness, all help modern people find the way out of suffering and live a meaningful life, but also a path that leads people to enlightenment and peace. By understanding and applying this philosophy to our lives, we will find peace of mind, live mindfully, and spread love to everyone around us. Diligence is not only a quality in spiritual practice, but also a necessary quality in all areas of life. When we practice diligence, we are not only true practitioners, but also responsible individuals towards society and the community. Diligence is not only expressed through words, but also in every action, every decision we make every day. Efforts in the right direction will create positive changes not only for ourselves, but also for the world around us. Imagine a person who strives every day to do good deeds, help the needy, share love and compassion with the community. Every day, each of their actions is small, but if we look back over a year, a decade, those efforts will create great changes. This is similar to training in the spiritual practice journey. Every time you decide to walk on the right path, every time you choose to do even the smallest good deed, you are continuing your journey of diligence. Diligence in each of our actions not only helps us become more perfect, but also spreads positivity to others. While we practice, we not only help ourselves cultivate our souls, but also become a light to illuminate those around us. Therefore, a truly diligent person will never think only of himself. They will always aim for better values, help those in need, share the joys and sorrows of others, thereby creating a better society. But it is important to understand that diligence is not forcing yourself or overworking. Diligence must go hand in hand with patience, reminding yourself every day to always be aware and control your emotions. In modern life, we sometimes have to face countless temptations, but if we can persevere and not be shaken, we will find peace in our hearts. It is the calmness and steadfastness in the face of challenges that is the key to achieving long-term success in any field. While practicing, many people often encounter difficulties, sometimes even feelings of discouragement, but it is at such times that diligence becomes more important than ever. When you feel tired, when you no longer see your goals clearly, it is perseverance and relentless effort that will help you overcome those difficult moments. Remember that every step, no matter how small, is a step closer to enlightenment. Difficulties and challenges in life are just opportunities for us to practice patience and become more mature. Let's look at the masters who have gone through a long path of practice. They are not people who do not encounter difficulties, but it is their diligence that helps them overcome all obstacles. They are shining examples for us to learn from. They have used their own perseverance and efforts to not only change their lives, but also set a shining example for everyone. Diligence is also an art of living. This art does not require us to rush, does not require us to race against time, but to do everything with absolute attention. When you do something, do it with all your heart. When you help someone, help sincerely and wholeheartedly. When you face difficulties, face them with a strong, steadfast heart. Diligence is also how we face things that cannot be changed. Sometimes there are things in life that we cannot control, but diligence helps us to be calm, accept, and find a way to adapt. Being calm in the face of life's storms is an indispensable part of the journey of practice. Diligence is a virtue that can be found not only in great actions, but also in the smallest ones. Sometimes diligence is shown by patiently completing simple tasks or maintaining a peaceful state of mind in stressful situations. Small but regular actions, from maintaining health, taking care of family, to listening and helping friends, are all invisible but extremely important acts of diligence. When you can maintain diligence in each small thing, you will find your life becomes much more meaningful. But how to maintain diligence in a world full of challenges and distractions? That is the question many of us ask ourselves every day. To maintain diligence, we need a clear goal, a great reason to wake up every morning. That goal is not something far away, but the true values that we strive for, living true to our nature, doing good deeds, and developing ourselves every day. When we have an ideal, no matter how difficult it is, we will not feel tired, but will always find the strength to continue. An important part of maintaining diligence is knowing how to accept mistakes and failures. People often think that diligence is only successful efforts, but in fact, diligence also includes learning from failures. We cannot avoid failures, but those failures are opportunities for us to grow. When you encounter difficulties, do not see it as a sign of weakness, but see it as an opportunity to practice more patience and the ability to stand up. That is true diligence. Diligence in life is also about keeping your spirit up, even when things do not go as expected. There are times when we will face failure, dreams that do not come true. But the important thing is not to let those things make us lose our resilience. Remember that diligence is not the absence of failure, but the ability to get up after falling. Each time we get up, we become stronger, more steadfast. That is the spirit of monks, those who always walk on the path of morality, despite all difficulties. When facing difficulties, one way to maintain diligence is to practice mindfulness. Mindfulness helps us to always stay focused on the present, not being distracted by worries about the future or the past. When you live mindfully, you will find that you can do everything with high concentration, not being distracted by unimportant things. This not only helps you work effectively, but also helps you maintain peace of mind. Diligence also involves practicing healthy habits that help you maintain both physical and mental health. A healthy body is a solid foundation for you to continue your path of diligence. Taking care of your health, eating a balanced diet, exercising, and getting enough rest will help you have enough energy to face all the challenges in life. Diligence does not stop at the mind, but must also be nurtured through daily self-care actions. Diligence is not only valuable in spiritual practice, but can also be applied to all areas of life. In work, when you persevere with your goals, you will gradually reap the rewards. In study, when you constantly strive and maintain focus, you will achieve proud achievements. And in relationships, diligence will help you maintain sincerity, patience, and the ability to face challenges to build lasting relationships. A typical example of diligence in work is when a person spends hours researching and learning continuously to improve his skills and knowledge, even though the work may not bring immediate results. But that perseverance and effort will create a solid foundation for their future career. When you are diligent in improving yourself, you will never waste time, but will achieve sustainable achievements. In particular, diligence is also demonstrated through the ability to maintain faith and determination in the most challenging times. When life does not go as planned, when everything seems to go against your wishes, it is diligence that helps you overcome and see things from a different perspective. Instead of giving up, you choose to continue walking with the belief that each day is a new opportunity to improve yourself and the world around you.